Good morning, Bucknutters. It is Thursday, September the 12th, 2024. I am Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and Change. Going to be joined here momentarily by the Dean, Bill Kurelic, and the Grand Poobah, Mark Porter, as they are here every Thursday. It's a bye week. Hopefully your honey-do list is full and you are fresh. One way to get things done this weekend and look great is with Gooder sunglasses. How many times have you been to a game at Ohio State? For example, we got Marshall coming up, noon kickoff. You throw on your shades, you go out there, it's a blowout, you go back to the parking lot, you hang out. The sun goes down, you put your shades away, and you lose them. What do? You go for your second pair of Gooders. See, Gooders are stylish sunnies starting at only $25 a pair. This isn't losing your $300 birthday gift here, okay? No slip, no bounce, all polarized, all fun. 1-year warranty, 30-day free returns. They got great cool names like Call Me Tarmac Daddy. You want to feel cool out there? I've gotten some feedback from my friends who have purchased these, and they love them. My peeps down in Auburn who are scouting Malik Autry for me are wearing these to the games. Even their younger kids who are exploring their social life. But I digress. If you want to support the show and try a pair, Gooder is giving Bucknuts Morning 5 listeners free shipping. You can go to gooder.com/Bucknuts and use code Bucknuts for free shipping. Gooder offers a 30-day money-back guarantee and 100% satisfaction. Again, that's gooder.com/Bucknuts and use code Bucknuts for free shipping. As I bring in my guys yesterday, I actually got my eyes worked on yesterday, and as my guy, Mr. Dunlap, was looking into my eyes and fixing it, he asked me, do you ever go on the air and talk about Ohio State? And he recognized me in the chair. No discount at LensCrafters for Bucknuts employees, guys, so don't get your hopes up. But we have the guys here today, Mark Porter and Bill Kurelic. Guys, it's a bye week. So, Bill, we're going to go to you first here. If it's a bye week, I have to assume that the staff is a lot of eating, a lot of couch surfing, a lot of, cable, catching up on some shows. Some extended stuff. What is the latest with our staff? Will they be out? We know that Justin Fry was down in Atlanta earlier this week. We know the guys have been out and about. What's your thoughts, Bill?
Well, they're doing multiple things. There are some. They are in the office working, getting ready for upcoming practices and games. They go out on the road recruiting. It's not like everyone goes out and everyone comes back. That's not necessarily the case during bye weeks. So they're working on their football stuff. And of course, Mick Marotti and his people are working out the team and, keeping them ready for everything they're going to be doing the next few weeks and all that. As you mentioned, Justin Fry was out on the road. He was in Georgia on Monday. And then you've got the coaches that'll be at games, which are, people have the misconception sometimes that all high school games are on Friday nights. They're not necessarily all on Friday nights. Some kids play on Thursday 1 week or next week or the next week. Most of the games are on Friday. Some play on Saturday. It's a multitude of games, and sometimes they will go to see commitments in action. Sometimes they'll go to see targets, guys that they've offered a scholarship, which, by the way, Ohio State made a couple more scholarship offers yesterday. They offered a couple offensive linemen, one a 2026 kid and one a 2027 kid. But we're at the point in the week now that most of the visits will be to games tomorrow night. And several of the Ohio State commitments will see an Ohio State coach at their game, like Bo Jackson. Carlos Lachlan is going to be at his game tomorrow night. Brody Lennon, Keenan Bailey is going to be at his game tomorrow night. Eli Lee from Akron Hoban, James Laurinaitis is scheduled to be at his game tomorrow night. And then, like I mentioned, they'll be at Target's games and all that too. So it is a busy time. In fact, in some ways, it's more busy than a regular week because they're doing multiple things, including going out on the road, which during the week, they're not going out on the road recruiting.
Certainly nice to hit the road at 2-0, coming off the 56-0 big dub. Not every other team in the Big Ten has enjoyed such success so far. I've actually noticed that our viewership has gone down by about 5% here in the chat. I don't see as many people wearing maize and blue here and talking junk. I was wondering when that would stop. And I figure about midway through the second quarter against Texas, as they were getting curb stomped, the volume just went down. You won't hear it again, maybe for 15 to 20 years, depending on how things go here. If there's another pandemic, they got a great shot. I know that. All right.
I also should mention, Dan, sometimes there are change of plans. For instance, at one point, Chip Kelly was going to go see Tavian St. Clair tomorrow night, but that was changed because the team that Tavian St. Clair plays against, it would be a pretty big underdog. So rather than go to that game, now Chip Kelly is going to go to his game on Friday, October 17th. They play Jonathan Alder that weekend, which is a pretty good team. Currently, they are a pretty strong team. So Chip Kelly will go to that game. That is Ohio State's second bye week of the season. The mid-October bye week. Chip Kelly will be at Tavian St. Clair's that game. That's the schedule right now. That is Tavian's senior night. So that'll be an interesting one. And looking that far ahead, I don't usually schedule my games that far ahead, but actually that's probably a game I will be at as well.
I'm surprised you won't be speaking at that game, Bill. I did notice Bell Fountain got back on the winning track. I believe they beat Westerville Central, which kind of surprised me because Westerville Central is a bigger school, and they had lost to Bellbrook the week before. Bellbrook is in the same conference as Oakwood, so I'd have to do a little research into that one.
That makes no mathematical sense, for what you're looking at. They should have won Bellbrook, lost Westerville. Yeah, you would think with that math, but I actually mentioned that to Tavian, and he was pretty excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive. As we know, football size matters. How many kids you got in your school matters more in football than any other sport. So Westerville Central probably needs to recruit their building a little bit better. But we digress. We have had a chance in recent past to see some guys that are grabbing headlines in Ohio, the very Ohio-themed recruiting stretch here for about 10, 15 days. Bo Jackson and Jaden Ricketts. Bo Jackson is committed to Ohio State. Jaden Ricketts has been offered by Ohio State. Both are locals. Bo Jackson is really kind of, I guess, blowing up from a national perspective. I've gotten some interest and some calls from our national recruiting guys to kind of provide some commentary on him, which means he's rising up the radar. I don't know if this is because Bo is kind of between positions would be a stretch, but he kind of played both for a while. And we didn't even know what he was going to be at one point. Now that he is focused on running back, Bo Jackson, Lamar Bo Jackson, which is, by the way, let's let them make our picks for the weekend. If you name your kid Lamar Bo Jackson, that is a double whammy. If you name the MVP and in the middle, his nickname is, a legend. Clearly, we did it wrong. But he's blowing. I had someone tell me they thought Bo was the best running back in the country right now. That's really high praise, and would certainly make Ohio State fans feel good. But Mark, you have some video of these guys. Take us through what we're watching. And let us know.
Compliments of Bill Kurelic. He was watching Bo. I think why people are so excited about Bo is when he was younger, he could run, and he ran like a really good linebacker. But now he can run. And I think you're seeing a little more track speed and a little more burst out of him. And that's very rare at 220 pounds. If you remember DeVoe Torrance from Canton South back in the day,
yeah,
Le'Veon Bell, I think he's a little more explosive than Le'Veon Bell right now at the same time in high school at the same size. I think that's why you're seeing the excitement. I think it's hats off to Bo Jackson putting in the work in the offseason to come out with a little more burst and a little more speed. Because when he was younger, it was more of a plodding downhill. Now you see, look at the burst to take away, from those guys there. And that clip, I think Bill said, was 300,000 shares there or views on that clip. I mean, that was a heck of an explosive run for a back that big. And Mansfield Sr. has some DBs that can run. They just played Canfield last week, and I know about Canfield. So this back has come a long way. And there's a couple clips here of him just doing the dirty work inside. Bill sent some clips over there. I should start talking about Jaden Ricketts. Was not the greatest night. We went down there. The game was delayed with rain, lightning. The other games in the area were canceled. Didn't get to do a lot. He was overthrown on a bubble scheme. He was overthrown on a couple other things. I enjoyed watching him play a little defense. What I came to see was the speed. And if you see this running back break away, Jaden's the one who comes darting in. Another clip just like that where he legitimized his speed for me that night. Now, the thing that I came away with, if you notice, he's a big dude. Like, he might be a safety or a corner or maybe even grow into a linebacker. I mean, he's got some size and he can really run. So not only is he a receiver, not only can he do things on offense. I mean, I was hoping he'd get a punt return. Nothing came his way. I was hoping he'd get a kick return. The wind was vicious that night. The flag was at full mast. So I didn't get to see the explosion on offense. And every now and then this happens. Bill and I have talked about it. We go see corners play. You think they were going to throw to his side, Bill? Not going to throw to his side.
Or punt to him?
Yeah, so a lot of that was like, I wish I could have got him, so we could. I love showing the Bucknutters great plays. Bill stole the show with the Jackson video. That was certainly worth its price in admission. But, boy, yeah, that was a cool sky. That really there's actually a picture I took with that sky in the background that I was like, well, if I was really a nature photographer, that'd be on some website. But we're football here.
No, I'm biased, but that kind of like when they do the anthem at a game on a Friday night. I know, Bill, not every game's on Friday night, but a lot of them still are. When they do the anthem on a Friday night and you get to see the whole visage of the whole thing, it is like it's poetic almost. I get welled up a little bit sometimes, especially when I'm at home and Oakwood's about to take the L. But I digress. I got to tell you guys about something very, very important. And that is fantasy football, but also, you know who else? Your friends at Manscaped. All right, guys. It's the best time of year. Football's back. We're talking NFL Sundays, college football Saturdays, and that glorious grind of fantasy football lineups. I told everyone to pick Marvin Harrison. I apologize, but I'm telling you it's going to get better. They will force feed him the ball this week. You can guarantee that. This is where your inner GM comes alive, Bill. Setting the perfect fantasy roster, screaming at your TV, and making last-minute waiver moves that either make you a hero or the guy everybody ridicules. That's not a word. Ridicules in the group chat. That's where Manscaped's Performance 5.0 Package Ultra comes in, acting as your all-in-one grooming playbook. From keeping things sharp down below with the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra to Mark's heavy fingers on the keyboard, taking care of those nose and ear hairs with the Weed Whacker 2.0, this is the lineup that'll keep you looking and feeling like a champ on and off the field. Use the code Bucknuts for 20% off and free shipping. Trust me, you'll be drafting the real MVP of grooming this season. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code Bucknuts at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code Bucknuts at manscaped.com. Stay on top of your grooming game and be ready for anything this season throws your way. All righty. Here's what I would like to talk about. There is your night sky, if anyone can see that. Yeah, man, that's
Jaden Ricketts in the corner. There's my attempt to be a landscape photographer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. It's the best. We could probably do a whole thing on just a photo gallery of head up to Coldwater, go out to Moeller, go to Ursuline, go to Portsmouth, and just do some kind of giant. Go to Central Ohio for Bill. All the whole deal. All right, Bill.
That was the calm before the storm Friday night.
Exactly.
Both Mark and I spent most of the night standing, etc., in the rain. It hadn't rained forever here, and of course, on a Friday night at game time, it rains.
I can tell you, as someone who cut their teeth coming up as a high school sports reporter, I used to love to cover basketball because I knew when the games were going to start and when they were going to finish. Football's actually not that bad. Spring, man, when you had to cover baseball, which, by the way, doesn't have a clock, most sports writer wants to do that. But, man, every day was a gamble. You know what I'm saying? You never know when it's going to rain or anything like that. But
I used to get the question, why did you decide to be a basketball coach, as head basketball coach at Dublin High School? Why did you decide that? I said, obviously, it's a climate-controlled sport. I knew that it was going to be 72 degrees basically and nice every single practice and game. Now, that doesn't account for why I ended up being the head softball coach, too. That's a little different matter. I wasn't quite climate control, but.
So I figured out, so I covered football and then basketball. And in the spring, I was so burnt out that the first time they went around and gave out the beats, I said, I'll take whatever. And I got girls lacrosse. And I found out 25-minute running halves with a clock. Your boy was home before the sun went down. Guess who covered girls lacrosse every spring? That's the sharp one. You don't have to wait for the rain or anything. All right, now that we've digressed heavily, let's talk about football. Bill, perhaps one of the most physically impressive prospects we've talked about ever on this show, Jakeem Stewart, a high school defensive tackle who looks like Chris Jones. If he wants to go as Chris Jones on Halloween this year, you'd be thinking the guy was literally there getting some candy. He has transferred. Very interesting. He's transferred from St. Augustine to Edna in New Orleans. St. Augustine is a very well-known athletic school every town has their 5 or 6 excellent private schools. St. Augustine is one of them. Edna, I've heard of, but I don't think is the football power that St. Augustine is. So I read that he's transferred, and then I read he's not playing football this season, and then I think he might reclassify. Bill, can you bring us up to speed on a guy who's arguably the top defensive lineman in any class, not in college football?
Yeah, I had an article the afternoon that he decided or put out the news that he was transferring. Everybody knew he was transferring. They just didn't know exactly where he was going. I remember last week we talked about that. You know, would he end up at IMG? I know that it was brought up. Dietrich Sanchez brought up that there was rumors that maybe he would even end up in Texas. Nobody thought really that he was going to end up at a school really close by his previous school now, as you mentioned, at Carr High School in New Orleans. Interestingly, Carr and St. Augustine, I am just about certain, play each other this season. But they won't play each other with Jakeem playing for Carr because he can't play. He's transferred in the season. He can't play this season. I really, he could, of course, stay there and play the 2026 season for them, but I will be a bit surprised if that happens. I think he is going to reclassify, is my thoughts, and I think he will graduate early. And he couldn't graduate early at St. Augustine. They have rules against that there. So to graduate early, he had to go somewhere else. So that is my feeling, is that he is going to reclassify and he's going to graduate early. And why not? We've talked about that last week too. So, again, that is my feeling. It's not official, but I just think that's what's going to happen.
So we jested about this, and people gave me a hard time about this about 6 months ago. And I said, you're going to see guys stop playing. Look, Jakeem Stewart, Ohio State will take him right now without playing this season, which should be his junior year. And said he's going to reclassify to make it his senior year and not play. So you're talking about a guy that's only played through his sophomore year of high school. Is that correct, Bill?
That is correct. He's not playing.
And so this is
year.
where we are now.
This is his junior
guess
season.
How much that, but guess how much that affected Jakeem Stewart's financial future? Not at all. By the way, Dion, you should be doing this with your son. He's going to get killed. If you want him to be I'm serious. Why would you play the rest of the season if you're Shedeur Sanders? You're going to be a top 3 pick. You're just going to get abused the rest of the season. But I digress. All right, Kevin.
I would debate the top
Kevin
3
Davis.
picks.
Hold on a sec, Mark. Hold on. Jakeem Stewart isn't really considering Ohio State right now, is he, Bill?
I don't agree with that. I would not pick him to end up at Ohio State right now, but I don't think they're off his list. He has previously told me that he wants to get to the Ohio State-Michigan game, for instance, and that is at Ohio State this year. That could be, if he reclassifies and all, that could be an official visit. Again, that's what he has previously told me, that he wanted to get to that game. I think if I absolutely had to pick a school right now, I think he's going to end up at, I would say LSU. Of
course,
he stayed close to home. He stayed in New Orleans and all that. But you've got LSU, you've got USC, you've got Miami, you got a host of schools that would love to get him into their program, and they would love to get him into their program ASAP.
What are your thoughts on the situation, Mark?
I think it's kind of a tragedy that, you play your sophomore year and you're done. And we're, like you said, here we are. This is the new state of business. This isn't affecting his money. He gets the train. I mean, he probably is lifting every day if he's not playing his senior year. Whoever gets him is going to get a player who's coming in pretty well developed. Then I can't believe we're here, Dan, but I think that's a shame for high school football. And, it's a shame that the Catholic school wouldn't say, you know what, we'll let you graduate early. You're kind of good. It is the 21st century. Maybe we could bend a rule, but that's a pretty rigid environment, I'm assuming. I don't want to get too excited about him because, like Bill said, he might not be coming here, and he is one of those players that we could get really excited about and provide a lot of hype and, really do what we've done in the past, the players. So we'll cool the jets there and just, appreciate him for the great talent he may be. And in a couple of years, maybe we'll see him getting drafted, hopefully from Ohio State.
I fully grasp everyone saying he's going to go to LSU, and the late, great Dwayne Long and I spent many a show lamenting the fact that the bigger Southern non-flat bellies weren't coming up here. We talked about it like the white whale. But I will also say this, and things change. The perspective of everything changes. Ohio State's Q rating is going up every week. Other schools are going to go down. I said on our prediction show with Dave, we had to make 5 predictions. My 5th prediction was, guess who was a long shot Heisman candidate? Jeremiah Smith. Everyone giggled, but they hadn't seen him play yet, and the landscape hadn't changed yet. And Ohio State's going to be, if provided everything goes the way we hope, they're going to be a very sexy team by the end of the year. So if you come to that game, the Ohio State-Michigan game, which sounds like it's literally going to be one of the greatest recruiting weekends of all time, literally, Bill, I think we can already say that. I wouldn't put anything past the Buckeyes at this point. Plus, and I think someone else brings up a really good point, what if things don't go well at LSU and, you got to go in there and tolerate Brian Kelly and his choreographed hand slams? You know what I'm saying? I
thought that was Bill Kurelic. He could tolerate Bill Kurelic. I wasn't sure.
I'm not going to lie. On first blush, I did think it said that, and I had to compute. Oh, BK, this guy's got an issue with Bill. He's one of the few. And
tolerate Burger King's food. I don't know what it was.
Well, I'm not. It's after breakfast, so we should be good to go. All right. Let's talk about the weekend. William, where are you headed?
I am headed about 45 to 55 minutes up the road from my suburban Olentangy area.
Say,
Mansion
compound?
would not be the word I would use, but
Paradise.
Compound.
Yeah. Just be honest.
Kurelic compound. I don't know if I would say that either, but I'm headed up the road about 45, 55 minutes to see BP Miller, the quarterback, future Ohio State wide receiver, as Ontario High School travels to River Valley High School. Ontario is, I believe, 3-0, and River Valley, I think, is 1-1 right now. But it should be a competitive game, and I'll be anxious to see BP Miller in action on Friday night.
Marcus?
Tonight, I'm going to head to Trotwood Madison versus Alter. That'll give us
Oh,
another
wow.
look at,
That's tonight?
yeah, that's tonight.
Where is that?
At Trotwood. So join me. Yeah. There will be some
I might join you
dudes.
there. Go ahead.
I know Mika will be happy. Plenty of questions about Jamarcus Weiss and Jameel Atkins, and there's a bunch of players that we'll be talking about, I'm sure, from this. I'm not sure about tomorrow. I want to see Alston, the running back from Painesville Harvey. He has sort of an easy matchup, and I was tempted to go see it because I know he would give us some great – after last week's – didn't get highlights. I'm like almost determined to find highlights, but I can't find a complimentary game close enough to it that would make sense.
Got to match up the prospect and the weather.
The prospect, the weather, another game in the area. So I might change gears, and there's a few linemen I need to check out on a Friday night. So I'm jealous of Bill's game. Tavian St. Clair, I was going to go see him, but he kind of mentioned that, yeah, they may have a lopsided game. And I was like, well, will Rain St. Clair be in the game then? So I could get a double dip, see if I could check out the future. But that seems to be the plan right now, whether, hopefully it's on our side. 2 weeks in a row where weather was not good. Miami Trace was my second half game last week, and it was canceled. So I was actually going to see Adam Guthrie, and I would have had some great video today, but last weekend was a bust. Epic fail, if you want a better word.
So, Mark, the game you're going to tonight, Alter at Trotwood, is for the Gem City, is a very cool matchup. For those of you who don't know, Trotwood is also the alma mater of new Michigan defensive coordinator Wink Martindale. So good job by him against Texas. But we digress. The Team Sanchez may not be here for Michigan because the high school team that their son plays for tends to go far in the Texas playoffs. I'll say this. Catching a game in the Texas playoffs, I'm not saying you got to skip Ohio State, Michigan for it, but I have never been to a big-time Texas playoff game, and that is something on the bucket list, man. That is one thing I will say. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Texas. It is worth – if you're a high school football nerd, you could make a trip to Texas and just go look at the stadiums and be satisfied. It will blow you away. As someone who's covered high school football for a long time, I have never seen anything like it. First of all, Texas has no zoning laws. So it's like gas station, house, stadium, store, gas station, huge stadium. I mean, high school stadiums that are literally bigger than most college stadiums that, aren't in Division I. It's awesome.
I don't know if it was evil or therapeutic, but I actually made my son watch Friday Night Lights the other night, and he had never seen Texas football. And boy, just to see that movie again, and as you brought that up, it really flood back. And there's nights like that in Ohio. Let's not discount.
Definitely.
We got some great stadiums,
Definitely.
but I think just the change of us going there would be, I'd like to do that sometime.
No, there's that's Odessa Permian, of course, out in the middle of nowhere. And that was like when I was in high school. That was incredible. Booby Miles and the crew. But that was awesome. No, listen, Ohio has a few games every time. I've been to a game, and I was once at a game in Pennsylvania. Actually, it was in a documentary film. There were 9,000 people at the game, and it was 6 deep. And I was on the sidelines, and I had to go to the bathroom. And you ain't going to the bathroom. You ain't getting to a bathroom. You're not getting to your car. You are a hostage. So all good. Daniel Sanchez, who would know better than anyone, he understands my way. Thanksgiving weekend games in Houston or Dallas usually happen in Jerry World. Nice perks. This just in, I think I would enjoy that more than the average human. I got to get to Jerry World at some point. Oh, look at this. They knew we were fishing. We've been invited to a game I'll be gassing up Bucknuts 1 for that weekend. Hopefully you play against Riley Pettyjohn and the boys too. That would be cool. All right, let's see if we have some more questions here. And if not, we're going to see this 5 a.m. flight. Yeah, if you play at night, it could be an issue. We need to get them there. All right. Bill, trivia. Nader Abdallah, is he the last Louisianan defensive lineman that we've gotten up here? I can't remember one since.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I don't think so. In fact, I think I looked at this at one point, and all the years I've been doing this, I can only remember Ohio State actually signing 2 or 3 kids from Louisiana. So, it's not a long list that I can remember.
You know what? I don't know if we can pull that off this season, but I will arrange that. Next year, we're going to go on the road with this show at some point. We will do that. It'll probably take me a year of begging to get the finances lined up. We will do that next year. The Sanchez's won't be able to join us. They'll be in Columbus, so we'll pass them in the air just like that. But we'll figure that out somehow. That'd be very cool. Good idea by James Augie back in the house. All right. Look at this. Alan Saunders has some, Texas doesn't play the best high school football, big stadiums or not, against out-of-state competition. They lose. Someone's got a little bit of an axe on the grinder there. You can hear the faint sound of it.
As someone that spent a year teaching and coaching in Houston, it's a different Ohio is great, but when I got down there to Texas, my first year of teaching and coaching, it was a different experience, a whole lot different.
So, and I know how you guys love the stories. One of my best friends in the world was a high school basketball coach, became a basketball coach in Texas, worked at Nacogdoches, worked at St. Joseph's in Houston, and was going to be the McDonald's All-American coach for the McDonald's All-American game, but it was canceled by the pandemic. They have a class in the afternoon for your coach of an hour. So they would go over film every day for an hour in class, not like pull your kid out of class. You had a class with your football coach in the afternoon, like 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, where you went over tape. He also sent me a picture from his office in the auxiliary gym, which was nicer than any gym I had been in. And let's also just say this, Bill, and you know this. I'm pretty sure the most powerful person in every town down there is the football coach, who they also make the athletic director so they can pay him. And football's definitely number one there. We do a good job here, but in terms of priority,
I'll give you a good comparison. Football, you mentioned basketball. That was one of the biggest reasons I came home after 1 year. I was a basketball coach first, and basketball just in those days was just not important there. Give you a little example. We had outside our building a very nice 10,000 plus stadium. I'm not talking about bleachers. I'm talking about a very nice 10,000 plus football stadium. Our basketball gym, arena, whatever you want to call it, seated about 750.
right.
That
didn't sell out.
Yeah, there was a little difference there in the emphasis on football as opposed to basketball. And we were a fairly new school. It wasn't like, well, this school is a long-time football power. That was just how the facility was built in those days.
I mean, it's really important, and thankfully we have rated them recruiting-wise. I don't want to tell a story about Tom Herman and how he feels about Garrett Wilson's recruitment, but then I'd have to get Bill to give away inside information, and we're not going to do that. We do appreciate our guys stopping by. We will have a ton of stuff coming for you this weekend, so we appreciate the Grand Poobah and the Dean for stopping by. Those of you that have held out are going to get something fresh. HelloFresh. Let me put this up here. Oh, yeah. HelloFresh. Dave has talked about it. If you're spending most of your time at football practice, being a football parent, HelloFresh will cut down the time for you and get you set up. With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip your trips to the grocery store, spend the time on the football field, and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Easily customize your meals with protein or veggie swaps, and don't forget to check out HelloFresh Market for more delicious add-on items to jazz up your weekly deliveries. Also, for free breakfast for life, go to HelloFresh.com/freebucknuts. One free breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life just by going to HelloFresh.com/freebucknuts. Really appreciate you guys stopping by. Be back next Tuesday with these guys. Have a good one. Bucknutters.